Good morning and welcome to another sunny day in Ribchester. I'm Nigel Howarth and this is Shed Sessions. So, Alan, morning to you.
Morning, Nigel.
We're about to pick some of your, or steal some of your apples. And here we've got we have to start with the Bramley. So we've got Bramley apples here. So I've got my bag. We're going to make the ultimate apple crumble. What can you say? Right, so we need a bit of... So Bramley apples.
They're the king. They're
And
the best for cooking.
Yeah, what have you got behind you there?
Well, these are good eaters. These are like Copses.
Right.
A nice variety.
And
Very crisp.
We've had so much wind that half the apples have blown. But
They have.
this is real life Ribchester.
Yeah.
So
End of
do you want
October.
to grab a few of those, Alan?
I will, yes.
Yeah, end of October. We're going to do a combination of these apples and
These
see if
will
we
be
can
very
get
good.
different flavours and textures.
These won't fall when
Yeah.
they're cooked.
So that's what I'm trying to do, is get some textures into the crumble. Another couple and I think we should be all right now.
Yeah, these will be ideal for crumble.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to head over the other side now. So let's go. After you, Alan. So here we are across the road, and we've got health and safety issues here because it's that wet here in Ribchester. I recognise those apples up there. I'm gonna have to just quickly get up there and grab a couple. Are these Spartan?
They're Spartan. A beautiful, shiny red apple.
They're almost plum-esque, aren't
They
they?
are.
And you look at them.
People
Here,
ask
I'll
if-
just grab them.
People ask if they're plums.
Yeah.
But no, these are good. They polish up really nicely. I think greengrocers like them because they look good.
That's like a, yeah. There we go. So we got 4 of those. They can go in as well.
Again, they'll cook well. They'll hold the shape when you cook them.
Yeah, and they're from my memory when I've cooked them up through the years. They're like a sort of quite tangy apple, aren't they?
They are.
Yeah.
Crisp and
Okay.
tangy.
So we've got a variety around here that well, they look interesting, don't they?
Yeah, they're called Fiesta.
They're
Yeah, new variety.
new
Good,
variety.
very tasty.
Well, a few of those, and then I've got another baker here, haven't I? What have we got here, Alan?
You've got some really large Lord Derby baking apples there.
Well,
A bit like Bramley,
Yeah.
bit redder than Bramley.
This is the fascinating thing with English apples, isn't it?
Yeah, these are all heritage varieties that
You don't want to fall on your head, though.
you won't get these in shops mainly.
No. So, although you might not be able to replicate this exactly at home, you get the feel of what we're trying to.
It's all right, don't worry.
There you go.
Coming
I think
to the
I've got
end.
enough of Lloyd Derby. So sweet. Right, and here we've got this one on the end.
Oh, yeah, now that's a Blamane orange.
Right. Well, we've got to finish off with a couple of those. So, because I'm tall, you shake the tree.
Got it.
Got, I think three of those. Oh, there's one there. 4 of those will be fine. Okay, so we've got our apples. We're going to head off to the shed and let's get cooking. See you later. Okay, so we're back in the kitchen. We've got those apples, and if you remember, we've got Spartan, Blenheim Orange, we've got the infamous Bramley and Howgate Wonder. So we've got the 2 cookers and the 2 eating apples, and we're going to make a special crumble with those ingredients. Got a little bit of sugar to just break those down with, and obviously sweeten them. And then over here, because this is sort of a nostalgic dish for me from a point of view of my mum. Always made this for me as a kid, and we were always brought up on Carnation milk. So there. No cream for us, it was Carnation milk. So I'm going to make a Carnation milk cream. So a sort of sophisticated Carnation milk. So let's make the crumble, huh? Okay, so I'm going to take the Spartan apple first. And I'm making some crispy skin as well. So if you're going to do this, do wash your apples beforehand. Just in case they've got, anything on them. It might have dropped off the tree. So I'm just going to show you this on one. There you go. And I suppose they're like a little rose. Very sweet. And they just go on top of the... I can just get that. Oh, I'm going to start at that end, actually. Come on. Come on, Nige. Right, so let's roll it round. This takes me back to doing tomato roses. Gosh, those were the days. Every dish had a tomato rose on. But I was reminiscing and laughing about my mother, who sadly passed away about 5 years ago. But she was a great cook in her own sort of way. But I always remember doing a radio program and saying she was just all right. She'll never forgive me really for that. Right, over here, I've got, can you see those little apple roses? And I've got a couple more there that I did a little bit earlier. So we're going to icing sugar those up and pop them in the oven later on. So let's get one of the big apples done here. And I've got about 5 or 6, 550 actually is the weight I'm using. But, if you've got if you've got 50 grams over, don't throw them away. Just use them because that's not going to make any difference. And we've got 100 grams of sugar to go into our apple mixture. Okay. And again, going back to when my mum used to make apple crumble and any of the fruit pies that she made. Well, in fact, when she used to make meat and potato pie and potato hash and all that, she never chopped on the board. And this is a fascinating thing. She'd always, I'm going to pop those in there now. She'd always chop them. She'd always cut things like I'm doing now. And you know how I suppose, if your father was a chef, you often become a chef and things like that. I think that's the natural thing. And where we say in England sometimes, we don't pass enough things down like jam making and things like that. It's just a matter of, if you've got a slight interest and you watch, your grandma and your mum cooking, then you naturally take on some. I find it fascinating that, I'm a professional cook, sort of, and I'm much more comfortable not to be chopping in a sort of classic restaurant manner when I'm doing things like this. It's just, you search for when you're doing something that you love, I think you do search for comfort zones. So I cut those through like that. And that feels to me much more natural than getting it and chopping it with a knife on the board. But she was a good cook, Mum, I tell you. Gosh, we had some good food. But I think when your parents do cook and you're growing up and you get good food on the table, you take it for granted, don't you? It's just when you don't. And I think hopefully with cooking being so popular now, but having said that, the whole of hospitality has just gone into lockdown today. So, wow, that's not good. So I've done a few apples here earlier. So I'll pop those in on top. And I'm going to put the apples there. And put them onto number 7. Put our 100 grams of sugar in, like so. And then we need to make our crumbles. So I'll put the lid onto that and just keep an eye on that as that starts to cook down. And it's a great time for apples and for orchard fruit in England or all over the UK, come to that. And there's so many apples just go to waste. It staggers me. I live in a little village and there's so many apples go to waste. I feel like doing an apple collection. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do an apple collection. We're going to do that, James, an apple collection. Okay, so I need to make the crumble now. Okay, so basically all the dry ingredients go in together, right? And again, this is Mum's recipe. So flour, sugar, ground almonds, might have sneaked those in, and a little bit of baking powder. I sort of say half a teaspoon of baking powder, and then we've got our 60 grams of butter, and I can hear my apples now starting to make noises, so I've got to keep my eye on that. So, and I don't do this in a machine because I just love the textural feel of doing some pastries. I know I was making croissants the other day, and I'm going to do that for you soon. Okay, so the crumble's done there. So we need to check the apples. Let's have a little look, and they're cooking down nicely. Okay, another minute or two, and they're going to be ready. So, let's look at our roses here, and all we need to do with those is icing sugar them. Give them plenty of icing sugar, because that's going to hopefully caramelize around the apple skin and make them crispy. And you get a lot of like the skins that we throw away on lots of things. You get a lot of flavour with that. So that's going to go in there like so. And let's have a little look where we are now with our apples. So, apples boiling away, crumble there. Okay, so we can put the cream together. And I've got here some apple puree. So 50 ml of apple puree. 200 of yogurt. Get out of there. And that's a really good natural yogurt. And then just short of 400 of Carnation milk. Carnation milk. And of course, as we were talking about earlier, you can boil evaporated milk. If you boil it in a pan, in the tin, you get it caramelizes. Because of the nature of condensed milk, it caramelizes. So, with the 4 different apples we've got different textures, hopefully. So, I'm looking now, and I think these apples are right to go now. So, I'm going to pop them into there, lovely jubbly. I can just see a little apple pip's got in there, so we'll have him out. And just basically spray it. We're talking about simplicity, but it does make it that much more interesting using apples in season and different apples rather than just using Bramleys all the time. Okay, so we can get rid of that pan. That needs to cool down now. Okay, so we're going to pop that in the fridge and cool that down. And while we do that, we're going to get our cream ready, which we've got here. And what happens is when you put the Carnation milk and the yogurt and the apples together, it naturally just has a gelling effect and sort of thickens them. So we've got our issy gun here. And I was just telling the crew how good I am with issy guns. It always goes wrong. So expect the worst here. Always goes wrong. So we're going to pour that in there. Like so. Just double checking I've mixed that in thoroughly enough. Yeah. And then the rest This is so yummy. Actually, we were just saying, because I made this up earlier on this week, and we were just saying that you could just have this on its own. Don't. No, that's naughty. That's naughty to say, but you could just have this on its own. Somebody said, and I shan't name the person. Somebody said that you can go out and buy an apple pie and then just stick this on top of them. That's not cooking. That's not what you should be doing, really. Okay, right. There we go. Pop that on the bike. Okay. And make sure you get your top on properly. I don't know what it is with these, but I always remember at Aunt Noise Court, I was always the worst with the Issy or Kagi gun. In other words, when they sort of splutter all over the place, it always happened to me that. So we all got it all splattered all over our faces. It was like, wow. Okay, that's the gas gone in. And we might need an extra cartridge, but we're going to hope, give it a really good shake, that one should be enough. Okay, that's enough of the shaking. We're now ready to put the crumble on top, and there she blows. Okay. You don't have to put every last drop in, I suppose, but it's, well, yes we do. Right, okay, and that's going in the oven, 180 for 40 minutes. Okay, so okay, so our crumble now is ready to come out the oven, and lovely and golden. I better make sure that there we go. Nice. You see a little bit of caramelization on the side, and our little roses, are ooh, nice and golden. Okay. So there we go. Right, and I've got some icing sugar and some cinnamon. Got a couple of bowls here, and here we go. We've just got to, I'm going to make sure. So this is, obviously you can still just have your apple crumble with custard, with your carnation milk, and just whack it on. But we're just going to try and make it a little bit sexier, a little bit more attractive, because it is just such a wonderfully, I mean, when I went down the south of France 5-6 years ago, every restaurant had a crumble on. I couldn't believe it. The French had nicked our crumble. That's got to be one of our best exports. We've nicked a lot off them though, haven't we, I think. Right, okay, so just very carefully. And I used 3 cartridges the other night on this, and so gosh, I don't know what I was doing wrong there. Okay, so I want to try and just get a nice little piece to, I mean, I always have a large portion when I'm having apple crumble, so I can't deny it's got to be a large portion. And we pop that in the middle, like so. When we get, oh, don't stick on me. There you go. And then you pop that on the top and you whack these around. Almost feels like Christmas. There you go. And there's your apple. There is your apple crumble, and that's really good enough to eat plenty of custard. And that's it. I'm going to do the other one in a minute because I'm going to eat that myself. So, oh, that looks yummy. Thank you. Hi, I'm Nigel Howard. If you like what you've just seen, then subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on social media. Enjoy!